cigars all around. Cheers, y'all.
Well.
That's a party.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known worldwide
Hi, Mom.
as the internationally famous Smokin' and Toastin'. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. Show number 269. We are all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars.
My favorite things.
So our wine expert, Mark Burrell, was actually scheduled to be on today, and they had some craziness, I guess, with I guess they may have lost one of the hosts or the sommeliers at the restaurant. So his schedule twisted all around. And he was trying to make it work, but in the end he had to cry wolf and do that. So we will schedule him at another time. He is thankfully let us know in time, so we weren't sitting here going, hey, where the heck is Mark?
Right.
But we will have him back. Now we won't be talking wines for Valentine's Day. That's what we were going to have him do. So maybe you'll just have to play a little Valentine's Day love song on the ukulele or something.
Just an old-fashioned love song.
There you go, playing on the ukulele. We are really thrilled to be here today for show number 269. That puts us
halfway to 300.
Halfway to 300. I'm very excited about getting to 300, and we got a plan for something, something really big.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah, something big and something exciting. So I wanted to do something before we get it. Well, let me first tell you what we're going to be checking out. Now, I brought this beer. I know you've already had this, and I know you've already told me you love it. But I thought we should taste it and talk about it on the show anyway. I brought 11 Below Brewing's Goat Getter. It's their Texas Bock.
I mean, yeah, well, I've been personally trying to drink them out of it since it came out.
It is a limited release. It's a seasonal. So I thought, you know what, just because you've had it doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it on the show. And this is the second candidate that I bought. The first one, actually, I gave to you as a show beer
so good.
a couple of shows ago.
So you haven't tried it?
So I have not tried it. So this will be a first for me. So very excited about it. Also, we'll be trying from Maine Beer Company their Lunch IPA. Lunch, yeah. And Lunch is not named Lunch because they think you should have it at noon instead of your sandwich or cup of soup or whatever. It's named Lunch because that's the name of a whale that has been sighted off the coast there, I guess at Freeport. And apparently it got nicknamed Lunch because there's a big chunk taken out of one of its fins or something.
Ouch.
And people said, oh, somebody had a bite of him for lunch, and that became the whale became known as Lunch. And apparently he's been there for a long time, or at least seasonally in that area. So they named a beer after him. So Lunch is our IPA we will try today. And then from Brooklyn Brewery, their Black Chocolate Stout. It is an Imperial Stout, and I have not tried it either.
Good.
So
I like Brooklyn Brewery makes great stuff.
They really do. I love their lagers and IPAs, and so I have not had a stout from them, so I'm excited for us to try that today.
Nice.
And then you brought from your collection the Glen Scotia Double Cask Whiskey. From Scotland. Did that just change directions on Mr. Twirligig?
It did.
That is so weird when that happens. Mr. Twirligig Jr. has a mind of his own, that's for sure.
He twirls to the beat of his own drum.
So what do you know about this particular whiskey?
So this is one that is always on my shelf.
Oh, so this is a regular for you.
This is a regular for me. And actually, when my brother was in town over the holidays, he was interested in something light and delicious on the Scotch side, and I said, well, I've got something unique because there are not very many Campbelltown whiskeys. So there's 5 regions of whiskey. This is the Campbelltown. There's about 3 of them out there,
and Glen Scotia is one of them.
And Glen Scotia is one of them. This thing keeps reversing directions. Very bizarre. I'm gonna keep hitting that button until it does what I want. But this and I only had, I think.
I'm sitting here watching him. He's just like,
I only had, I think I only had like a few drinks out of it, left out of it when my brother was in town. So we're going to stop looking at that now. We're just
okay,
gonna let it
yeah, it's going to have to do what it does. Yeah, there you go. Then the label will be kind of sort of to the front.
So and then I finished the bottle, and I just remember it had been a while since I drank it, and I thought to myself, man, that's so good. I forgot how much I love it. I've talked it up. I've told people, buy this if you want something that's not your typical Scotch and you don't want something very peaty and that kind of stuff. You're going to let that bother you, right?
I'm trying not to look. I'm trying.
Stop looking at this.
Oh, Mr. Twirligig.
There, we stopped it.
Okay.
Anyway, so I thought to myself, man, I always have this on my shelf, and I just ran out of it, so I need to remember to go buy and get one. And then I just haven't been by the liquor store. I haven't had a whole lot of reason to go buy. And then when you said, hey, do you have a whiskey to bring for the show? I was like, you know what? Mm-hmm. I do, because I've been needing to go buy and get it. So this is a brand new bottle.
All right, very excited.
As you can see, we're going full on danger today, because I have not cleared the cellophane off the top, and I have not cleared the neck of it. So there's danger of spillage, and there's danger of getting a little plastic cut from the top.
We do what we need to do here at Smoking and Toasting, so we can drink, and so you can.
I have eye protection.
Yeah, I see that. That's good. You get the glasses today, so that's good. Other things coming up on the show. Super Bowl is this weekend, and I've decided that I am going to be rooting for the Cincinnati Bengals over the Los Angeles Rams. I don't really have a vested interest in either team, but one of the reasons I've decided to root for the Bengals is I really like their young quarterback, Joe Burrow, and he started a tradition for himself that after he wins any championship game, he has a victory cigar. So he won the championship game, I think, in college, and he had one. And then he won the AFC championship 2 weeks ago, and he had one after that. Those are actually his first two cigars. So it's a brand new tradition for Joe, but he seems to really enjoy it. So
That's awesome.
I'm hoping he'll be lighting up a victory cigar after the Super Bowl.
See, man, remember when the Bengals were awesome, and was that the early 70s?
Yeah, I think it was maybe it was back when they had the leather.
Right about the year I was born.
They had the leather helmets, I think, back then.
Yeah,
right. No, but actually, if you'll hold on a second, I've got to use.
They didn't have shoulder pads. They just wore 3 shirts.
I've got to use Cash App to send money to the NFL because I said Super Bowl 3 times, so that's $78. So anyway, I'm excited about the Super Bowl, and Mary's going to be preparing a really nice, nothing good for you in it feast.
Oh yeah,
and I'll be drinking plenty of beer, so I'm very excited about the whole thing.
I'll do my traditional. I'll just take my TV outside and sit outside and have cigars and watch it.
That's good.
That's
Mm-hmm. I like it. Also on today's show, we're going to be talking about the consensus cigars. We mentioned this last week, but did not get to the list. That's the list that Half Wheel puts together, where they take all these year-end cigar lists and they do their best to kind of conglomerate them into one list.
That's the problem with a guy like Trey Boring. Unlike his name would suggest, he actually is quite an interesting fellow.
Yes.
And when you have interesting fellows on the show, it tends to take a lot of the time.
Yeah. Well, he's like that,
I'm glad he was here, though.
Thank you, Trey, for being on the program last week. Also today, we will be delving into the best whiskeys of 2021. Pace Magazine has a list.
Oh, that
so
sounds
we'll be
fun.
a look at that. So we can see if you agree or disagree on what you've had, and the lists are always fun. Oh, and of course, drinking news, our very popular segment, will be coming up here in just a little bit, and that will be courtesy of our drinking news teaser headline. Hey, you're the monkeys. And so look forward to drinking
who's
news.
Your favorite monkey
Later on the show.
Was it Mike Dolan's?
No,
or
Nesmith.
Peter Tork.
Nesmith was my favorite.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, he passed away this last year too.
Yeah, I heard about that.
So, he was the only one that had any real musical talent in the Monkees.
Yeah, he was actually a musician before the show.
Yeah, right. Instead of, hey, you got the part, now learn to play guitar.
You know who played guitar on almost all the Monkey stuff?
Ooh.
Howard Roberts.
No kidding.
Yeah, there's no bad guitar playing
legendary,
on any Monkey stuff.
Legendary guitar player.
There's no bad guitar playing on all that.
Yeah, I'm not the hugest Monkees fan, but hey, they covered Neil Diamond, so you got to love them for that.
There's that.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to do something. We haven't done this in a while. I have brought a mystery beer today, which is something I want to pour for you and for Adam, and we will taste it without you knowing what exactly it is, and then we'll reveal that after you tell me what you think. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, okay.
All right. So
we haven't done that in a while.
We're sitting really close, so you're going to have to promise to just look away and not peek while I pour.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yep.
All right, you do that.
I'm going to look off into the distance over here.
Yeah. I think the last time we did this, you were further around, but we got the Smoking and Toasting banner up there now. So,
no, look. So I like that the mystery beer is only a mystery for me. Like like you're just gonna basically
how can it be a mystery?
Me on the spot?
How can it be a mystery for me? I haven't. I had to bring it, but
you just have to not pay attention when you go buy beer. I mean, I've done that many times where I get stuff home. I'm like, where the hell did this come from? How did this get in my cart?
I do want to say that I have not tasted this, so so that it has that going for it.
I'm still looking. I'm gazing out of the window. I feel like I'm on an album cover where I'm just looking off into the distance.
You're gazing across the mindless expanse. Is that what you're doing?
I'm not smiling, so I could almost be in a rock album or a metal album. So
that's good. Or like one of those old photographs. You remember when they used to take old photographs and nobody smiled?
Right.
And it was kind of like
don't smile.
Yeah, it was kind of like. I'm not smiling because if I do, this camera will steal my soul. All right, you can look now. Thank you for your cooperation.
I'm looking.
I'm just going to switch glasses with you because I don't want to be accused of pouring more from
that
you
is
than
very
from you.
strawberry looking.
Yes. So this is the mystery beer, and I'm going to be really interested to see what you think of this. Be really interested to see what I think of it too.
What is it?
Yeah,
what
that's
does it
got
smell like? It
something
smells like,
on the nose, doesn't it?
Hold on. There's a familiar smell going on there. It's
feels like I've smelled it at Taco Bell.
It's some kind of like. I almost have my finger. What does it smell like?
Taste it.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and taste it and forget what I'm smelling. There's something I'm smelling there.
Tasting it may help you.
Not getting it.
Well, your expression is just priceless. I want you to know that.
That's exactly what I was smelling. That's
it's tomato.
Okay, so yeah, so it's like a V8 is what I'm smelling. Like it's very vegetal.
It kind of tastes like a beerish V8. Here's the reveal.
I don't know that the second sip was all that much better.
This is the Sol Chelada. And I got to tell you, it's fucking terrible.
It
tastes like a sweaty armpit.
It tastes like a sweaty armpit, is what Adam said. That's good. I love it.
I mean,
but
what it's left in my mouth is a travesty.
Here's what it says: a flavorful and refreshing mix of soul beer.
Okay, hold on, they got the first word right. It is flavorful. Like this is not lacking in flavor, that's for sure.
Soul beer with natural tomato, spice, and lime flavors. Beer with natural flavored and artificial color. Oh, so they put artificial color in it.
I mean, maybe if we toss some vodka in here and a celery stick.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm not the hugest Bloody Mary person to begin with. There are times when that's just exactly what you want and need, but I don't drink them often. And that's what it kind of reminds me of, is just like V8 or Bloody Mary with a...
It's a bloody beer?
A bloody beer.
That sounds a little more British than we want to be.
It's bloody awful. I can tell you.
It's bloody awful.
So, all right, well, you don't have to drink anymore, but I thought we would try this. This just caught my attention. I was like, wow, people actually buy this.
Look how weird and sickly the foam on the top looks. I don't know if I can get the camera to look down in there, but it looks kind of ugly.
Yeah, it kind of does. It looks like it's maybe a post-peak, you know? Maybe it expired a month or two ago, you know?
How would you be able to tell?
Yeah. Has anyone out there ever had it's not an unpopular style of beer, at least here in Texas, I think, because you see different...
there are different companies that make it.
Different companies make it. I think Budweiser has one, and I think... and you can get micheladas at a number of restaurants here, where they basically pour your beer into a tomato juice, I guess.
Oh yeah,
or a V8. But it's
don't forget the clamato. That's really
You know, I try to keep from catching that if I can.
I want to thank you for this. Actually, you have done me quite the favor, because I sometimes am a victim of my own snobbiness in certain ways. I really try not to be snobby about most things. I'll give almost anything a try, but this Chelada beer in a can thing is something I've been ignoring since its inception.
And
I have never tried it.
Your instincts are
and
good,
I was
my
never
friend.
really interested in trying it because
Yeah.
I thought to myself, well, I like to drink good beer.
Right.
And that makes me feel like maybe I was being a little bit on the snooty side. But
Yeah.
you have actually justified everything I've thought about
I was
this
going to say you were right on the money, my friend. Right
Oh.
on the money.
Oh.
That's not good.
Oh, the
That is-
belch was-
That is
God.
not good. Here, go back to your H-Town pills, your show beer.
I mean, I even tried a second sip to see if it would, but it got worse.
I will say it has just about ruined this juicy IPA that's my show beer because now these two.
Oh, I bet those flavors
two
are
don't-
so bad
These
together.
two don't work
Oh,
at
it
all.
doesn't go well with this either.
I'm trying to drown it out, but
It doesn't go well with this. It actually makes my beer taste bitter and awful.
Well, so there you have it.
Oh, I'm going to have to wash my mouth out with scotch.
We will be telling you about some new cigars to watch for
When I have to
today.
use scotch as a palate cleanser, man.
And 11 beers that you can never drink again. And
This is one of
this is
them.
one of
Once is enough, my friend.
Yes, I believe it is. So, if there's anyone who's on the Facebook feed or who actually likes Chiladas, please
My
chime
buddy
in.
Duke says, "I'm sorry, I call him Duke. His name's Nick. He said he's not a Chilada guy. He didn't like him either.
Yeah. But if there's anybody that does like them, tell us what we're missing. Like, what are we not getting here? Because obviously they wouldn't be producing these for all these years if no one was buying them.
Man,
right?
somebody's buying them, but that ain't good, man. I just want to shout out to old high school friend Joe Ramos. I haven't seen him since high school, actually.
Wow.
He's watching the show. Man. Hi,
Welcome.
Joe.
We did a Chilada especially for you, Joe.
I hope you're not one of those guys going, man, I really like that beer. No, I mean, they make all kinds of weird stuff, though.
Yeah, they do.
I have a buddy of mine that'll drink beer, and he has that twang salt stuff that he just,
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
before every sip, he pours it right on the lip of the beer.
and then drink it. Yeah. Well,
I make fun of him for that.
you probably should. So let's move on to something more tasty. Hopefully, have you had an opportunity to smoke anything interesting?
It's a
this
funny
week?
story. I went to Casa de Montecristo this morning.
Oh yeah.
I did not stay there.
Oh yeah.
No, I got out of the car and realized I forgot my wallet at home. It's like, So I ran back
hate
home.
when that happens.
Which put me in a little bit of a time crunch. So I had to find a short cigar, but that's okay because I don't have a whole lot of variations in my humidor right now. So I went to my bottom shelf, which is where I keep my Cuban cigars, and I don't have very many of those left either. And I grabbed out the Montecristo Petite Tubo, which is the same size as the Montecristo number 4. So this is a Cuban cigar.
A small one.
And it's a 5x42, so Petite Corona is what they what the actual size is. Wrapper, binder, and filler are all obviously Cuban. The appearance, milk chocolate, medium firmness, some veins, classic Montecristo label. The big difference you see is subtle, actually. It just says Cuba underneath it. So.
Or Havana, sometimes they'll say.
Yeah.
On the labels. Yeah.
So the pre-light sniff on this traditional tobacco, light spice, fermented hay, slightly floral smell to it. The pre-light draw, I used a clip. It had a little bit of a tight draw. Now, I also want to point out that this has been sitting in my humidor for the greater part of 8 to 10 years.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so it even had a little bit of what do you call it? Like it's this little fuzzy stuff on it. I had to brush
right.
off.
I know what you're talking
that
about.
it gets
that,
after a while. And
yeah. That comes to the surface
Yeah,
of the,
just
of
a
the
little
wrapper
bit.
leaf. Yeah.
The pre-light draw, a little bit of a tight draw, rich earth, wood, spice, and floral with a little bit of tea leaf as well. Now, I assume this has picked up some of the cedar flavors that some of the big cedar flavors that I got from my humidor.
Probably,
I mean,
yeah.
that's something that happens when a cigar sits in there a long time, and that's a good thing, right? So the initial light on this big, rich smoke. I mean, the smoke just was like big, huge billows of smoke coming out almost immediately. It was fantastic. Tangy pepper and coffee blast right off the beginning. Fresh cut lumber, underlying spiciness. The first third of the cigar. I wrote down here, Cuban tobacco has a distinctive earthiness and spice. This is just something like when you smoke a few Cuban cigars, and it doesn't take many. Like, you just smoke a few, you'll kind
kinda
of
pick
get
up
what
on
it
that,
is.
yeah.
You know, there's just a certain flavor that it has. And this that had it in spades. It has a distinctive earthiness and spiciness. This is as classic as a cigar can taste. Rich earth, fermented hay dominate the palate with subtle notes of wood, nuts, campfire, and a tangy spice. Coffee and pepper as a foundation underneath everything. Retrohale is cedar, earth, and pepper with a touch of sweetness. Solid ash, perfect burn. You can see all that in the pictures.
How many years in your humidor?
After 8, at least 8. I suspect it's closer to 10. But
cool. That means you do a good job of humidor management.
Yeah, well, I really try. You know, I pay attention to it at least every few months. You know, I watch the time on it and everything. This is actually, look at the foam on this is actually turning more red as we go along. It's really looking worse.
It's gross.
The second third of this cigar, earthy and nutty flavors are constant. Pepper, spices, coffee, and wood in abundance. Like I put down here, I was kind of starting to wax poetic here. Like a master artisan utilizing a limited color scheme, the finished piece is augmented rather than diminished by the lack of complexity. Retrohale, spicy coffee, and slightly sweet, solid ash, perfect burn. And what I mean by all that is,
cigar good?
If you have, yes, cigar good. That's in short, yes. You can be creative with a lot of, let's put it in artist terms, you can be creative with a lot of material or a lot of colors. Mm-hmm. When you only have a few,
you have a limited palette of color.
You really have to have a lot of talent to make it interesting.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And that's what this cigar is about. It's not the most complex cigar I've had. It has some complexity to it, but it's really good at what it does, and it is a crowning achievement of this
particular
yes,
flavor.
It's
and
very
style.
good.
Yeah, that's
the
awesome.
last third is pepper and spice ramps up towards the end. Cedar and coffee finish the palate. Retrohale is a little spicier. Solid ash, perfect burn. As far as I can tell, you can buy this cigar if you can find it in around the $14 range.
Not bad.
So not a super expensive one. And there are places where you can do bids on Cuban cigars and stuff like that. So it's not even unattainable. Mm-hmm. It's one you can get. Now it is one that's a little scary because there's a lot of counterfeit out there.
Right.
But assuming mine was not a counterfeit and it was as good as I'm telling you it is, I give it a 5.5 at that price range.
Wow.
Because here's the deal. As a Cuban cigar goes, this is super classic. This is literally what Cuban cigars are about. This is the kind of cigar that gave it its reputation. Right. This and a Series 4, all those classic Cuban flavors are right there. And if you have the means and you have you can get your hands on one of these, I highly recommend that you spend the money, toss them in your humidor, and then when you have a rare occasion, have a Cuban cigar.
Yeah, celebrate.
It really is a treat. Yeah. And it's really nice because it's a very different flavor.
I like it.
You know?
I like it. Well, very good. All right, I'm going to tell you about what I smoked this week when we come back in our next segment. Plus, we have a lot more to talk about, including this consensus list that Half Wheel has put together of the cigars of the year. So we'll get to that, and we will taste some beer that, hopefully, well, we have, as far as I'm concerned, we have nowhere to go but up from tastes like smelling someone's armpit. Was that what Adam said?
I do want to point out that even though you knew what this was and it was a mystery for me, you did taste it with me.
I did, and it was the first time I'd ever tasted one. So I'm appropriately shocked and appalled, just as you.
Hopefully last.
And we'll be back at Smoking and Toasting.
God, I hate the beer bash, but that is.
I don't think I've ever said it. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. It's so nice to have you here for show number 269. You know, we make a lot of fun of Florida here on the show. The drinking news stories are very often Florida man, Florida woman stories. And Florida, you know, deserves some of the crap that we give it. But I have to say bravo to Florida today. Because, and my buddy Dave, who he's been on the show before, who lives in the Tampa area, sent me this story from the Herald Tribune. A state Senate panel on Monday in Florida approved a bill that would allow local governments to restrict smoking at beaches and public parks, but puffing cigars and pipes will still be allowed.
Wow.
Now, almost never does that distinction get made.
Wow.
So I got to feel like that's a big, big deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The sponsor, a Republican from Sarasota, said the change was made because, quote, cigar and pipe smoking is such a small portion, end quote, of the problem. So apparently that's not what.
not
what they're really looking.
Well, there's a
for
couple
tail.
things. First off, cigarette butts left on the ground
Yeah.
is litter.
Right.
Cigar butts left on the ground is organic material.
That's exactly right. I mean, and
It's just a tobacco
You're not
leaf.
making that up. It's just leaves.
That's literally, it's just a tobacco
Yeah,
leaf.
it's
So,
leaves, so.
you're not going to have an environmental impact, I think, with
Right.
cigar butts.
But that little filter on the end of the
And
cigar
pipes, you take them home with you.
butt. Right. Exactly.
You know,
So-
you may have the dottle that you knock out of your pipe,
but that'll be
which
it,
is,
right?
but that's it, and that's just tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's no environmental issue. You're not uglying up the beach, you know.
Well done, Florida, and thank you, Dave, for sending me that little piece of information. So let me talk to you about what I smoked this week. I had a cigar that we've talked about here on the show before. Our buddy Trenton from Oliva has given us these cigars before, but I've never really sat down and done tasting notes on one. So I did one for this week's show. It was the Gilberto Oliva Reserva Blanc Toro. Now, you could never accuse Oliva cigars of being overpriced.
No.
Even when you're buying their more expensive sticks at the top of the line, they're still very reasonably priced. So I was actually almost surprised when this line came out, the Gilberto Oliva line, a budget-friendly line of cigars from a company that's already pretty budget-friendly, quite frankly, at least compared to a lot of others. I've gotten spoiled over the years, personally, to good cigars. I mean, most of the time I smoke cigars I know I'm going to like, or I at least am thinking there's a good possibility
Right.
that I'm going to like. And unless you just get a dud somewhere, usually you are you're going to like them. I don't spend as much time with lawnmower or dog walker smokes as I used to. I just I try to get good prices on the cigars that I buy and not worry too much about it. But the Gilberto Oliva line is named for, not surprisingly, Gilberto Oliva. He is the grandson of Melanio Oliva, and of course, the Melanio name has been ascribed to some of their cigars in the line. So this is the cigars have a very different looking band. Almost all Olivas look like Olivas, the way they're packaged in the band. This one looks different. Almost looks like it could be like
even the nubs have that same styling.
They really do,
even though they're not the same label.
They really do. So the Reserva Blanc is a very pretty cigar. It's almost blonde in color with a smooth wrapper showing only a tiny hint of veins. That wrapper is an Ecuadorian Connecticut leaf. Binder and fillers are from Ecuador and Nicaragua. It was blended in Nicaragua. The pre-light aroma on this was mostly aged tobacco and leather, little hint of spice. So I lit up the cigar and off I went. While there certainly wasn't a Nicaraguan pepper blast, or an NPB, if you will, there was a decent amount of spice on first light, although, it was enough to just let me know and not be lulled into thinking that the cigar would be super mild, because from the look of it, it looks like it could be a very mild cigar, but it's got a little bit of oomph to it. So that brings us to, a very, very important point. Cigars are like people. You should never judge them by the color of their skin, right? Because sometimes you can get what looks like it might be a powerful dark leaf tobacco cigar, and it winds up being pretty mild.
Have you smoked a Series R?
Yes, I have.
They're not super dark.
No, I know. But they are super powerful. Yeah, for sure. So from the very beginning, the cigar behaved beautifully from a construction standpoint, as my good friend Ian likes to say. Solid ash, perfect burn.
Yeah, nice.
The first third of the Reserva Blanc gave me a hint of leather, accompanied by baking spices and a grassy note. There was also a distinct creaminess that was very pleasant. A little bit of sweetness, like a date or raisin sweetness, kind of crept in after about the first inch or so. Rich wood notes on the retrohale, very cedary, and a razor straight burn to start off the cigar. Some cedar, as I mentioned, as the cigar burned, but the grassy note and creaminess were the primary things I got out of the cigar all the way through. A little bit of cedar on the finish, for sure. I struggle a little bit with calling this cigar complex. On the one hand, the flavors blended very nicely and the smoking experience was very pleasurable, but the flavor did stay essentially the same once it established itself about an inch in, and not putting a lot of new notes kind of weaving in and out like some cigars do. I do get the impression that this cigar would pair really well with a black coffee, even though I'm not a big coffee drinker. I was enjoying it with a Diet Dr. Pepper, but it just felt like that that sort of roasted coffee note would blend well with that. So you might want to try that if you're a coffee person. Construction was spot on. The burn would get a little crooked at times, but always kind of straightened itself out. I never had to tend it, which was nice. The Gilberto Oliva Reserva Blanc Toro is about a $6 cigar, although you can get them for much less if you look for the specials from time to time. I got a box of these at a great price. I think my cost was closer to $4 a stick than to $6. So the Reserva Blanc is a solid, enjoyable smoke, a definite step up from your typical lawnmower type cigar, and almost shouldn't be thought of really in that capacity. I think it's pretty good.
Like that's a first step outside.
Yeah,
of that.
maybe so. I recommend it. I give it a big thumbs up at $6, a solid 5 price to quality, and if you can find it for 4 or 5, an easy 6 on the price to quality scale. And we review this from time to time, but our price to quality scale, 5 means you got exactly what you paid for. If it bats above a 5, it's maybe worth even a little more than the suggested retail price. So there you go. I enjoyed it. Again, all things Oliva, in my opinion. I don't think I've ever had a bad Oliva cigar. Or even a disappointing Oliva cigar.
No, and their Gilberto line, I agree with you on the complexity thing. I don't think they're very complex cigars, but they're very good cigars.
Right, exactly.
And that's
maybe a little more straightforward, but really, really.
I think that's one of the things you get a lot of times, though, when you're going for a lower price point. You can try and make a complex cigar, but a lot of budget-minded cigars, I think, miss that mark.
You're right.
I think if you go for.
Or they may go with shorter filler and wind up not having as good a
let's go with
construction.
a simple cigar and make it great, and I think that's where the Gilberto really, really rocks.
And I think it does.
Price range.
It does well, and it's a really great cigar. I have a convertible, and I enjoy sometimes smoking a cigar while I drive, but that's not where you want to go with a super complex cigar.
No,
because
not
the
at all.
wind and everything, you're not going to get that out of it. So this would be a perfect driving cigar. Yeah, for me at least. All right, we're going to try to transition to some good beer now. And I know already that you like this, but this is the 11 Below, what is it called? Goat Getter.
Goat Getter.
It's their Texas Bock. And before we get into it, Adam, do you have that picture that Ian sent you? Is that something you can put up? Ian took a photo of the chelada and what it looks like, and it does look like a greasy dishpan where you made spaghetti. If you can put that up, like you, and now you filled it with water.
Atrocious.
Yeah. So I don't know if we can post that. That's great. But this beer, on the other hand, looks like a Bock.
This does not look like that. Yeah.
This looks like a Bock to me.
This does. It has this beautiful, rich, amberish brown color.
It's up right now.
You got the picture up right now. Awesome.
Right,
yeah,
so,
that's the.
That's not the Goat Getter. That's
not
the
Goat Getter.
chelada.
It's the chelada, and it just looks vomitous, to say the least.
Vomitorious.
Vomitous.
But this Bock, though, on the nose, man, you just has that German Bavarian kind of note to it. It's got a real. You kind of know what you're in for. Really malty.
I love the smell of this. It's malty.
Go grab a pretzel to eat with this.
Yes, this has a very pretzel-y kind of flavor too. That kind of pretzel dough.
Reminds me of the
and sweetness.
What is that? What is that St. Arnold beer that we like so much? That I forget the name of it now. It's not the Oktoberfest, which is great, but they also have one that's very pretzel-y, very beer-ish.
It's
very
a black label and has like a pretzel on it.
Yeah, right. It has a pretzel actually on the label. We've had it on the show before, but I haven't seen it in a while.
Blanking right now.
All right, we'll figure it out. It may be a seasonal. It may come
Goat
back.
Getter, Texas Bock. 'Tis the season to brave the nippy days of Texas winter, and there's no finer companion than a malty Bock in your hand. Brewed with German malts and cold lagered, this young buck is eager to please. As smooth and versatile as a cut-off sweater, our Texas-style Bock is a real goat-getter.
It is definitely
rhymed it.
Definitely maltier and more German-styled than say a Scheinerbach, which of course Scheinerbach isn't really a Bock; it's a dark ale, but it's got a little of a Bock flavor
it's
to
Bock
it.
enough for me, baby.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Scheinerbach to me is the standard. This tastes a little craftier, perhaps, than
Scheinerbach. This has like a very German kind of backbone kind of flavor to it.
Very much so.
Very traditional German kind of backbone flavor. This is a fantastic beer. I have been personally trying to drink the stores out of this beer since it came out.
Well, it is a seasonal, right?
The first time I thought the label on it was actually kind of corny. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree.
And the name, Goat Getter. Okay, well, you know,
Bock means goat, right, in German?
You're probably right.
I think so.
I didn't think about
Goat or ram or something like that. That's why the goat is associated with this style of beer.
Yes.
And,
so
it does
has
look a little like Tom Brady. So.
Tom Brady looking goat with a sweater, 2 beer steins on it. That's for those of you who don't watch the show and listen to it instead.
Josh. I
it
like
means
this.
ram.
Ram. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you to Nick.
Thank you, Nick. This is delicious and very drinkable. What's the ABV on this? Does it say?
6.2.
So that's a little higher than a Shiner Bock.
6.2, a little bit.
But not
Yeah,
bad
and
at
it's
all.
not brutal, but man, is it good? And when it warms up, it stays good. Even when it's just about room temperature, it's just fine.
It
I
really-
see you are enjoying
Yeah,
yours.
I definitely am. Thank you, sir.
You have demolished what I poured into your glass earlier.
Thank you, kind sir. No, I find it very tasty, and perhaps part of it is it's got just enough backbone to it to knock that chelada taste out of my mouth.
I'm glad you brought this out because I was just about to start licking the carpet to try and get the taste of that chelada out of my mouth.
Oh, man. So I promise that the next time I bring a mystery beer, it hopefully won't be that bad.
Hey, I'm not going to say anything considering I've malorded you twice.
Yeah, I need a shirt that says I've been malorded twice. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. But no, this is quite delicious. And 11 Below, by the way, from right here in Houston, Texas.
11 Below is one of those breweries in town that they don't get a lot of buzz. They're just silently
kind of quietly do their
killing
thing.
it
Yeah, they
with their
quietly do
beers.
their
And then
thing.
they just put out, they have a seasonal that comes out in the spring every year called Dublin Me Luck, and it's their Irish Red. And it's fantastic
think
as
I've
well.
had
They
that.
just
We'll
they
have
have
to-
so many beers that are so good. They have one called Be Someone that's
like a honey wheat beer, right?
yeah, and it's fantastic. They
I've
have
had their a hipster sauce, which is their IPA.
yeah,
which is
Oso
good.
Bueno.
Oso Bueno is
It's
so
fantastic.
bueno.
I had some of that last night actually.
That's a really good beer.
Yeah, so they're one of those breweries that like they've become. When I see 11 Below and I see anything new, I have to try it because it's really, really good.
It's great stuff. All right, I tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break and we will return. We still have a lot to go over, including our consensus cigar list. So we'll try to get to some of that next. And our next beer is going to be very interesting. This is in a. It's almost like a mini bomber. It's from the. Beer company from Maine, the Maine Beer Company, Freeport, Maine, and it's their lunch IPA. So I'm looking forward to
We're
getting
gonna
to
put that up on the Twirly Gig.
Yes, we can do that. We'll take a break, and it'll be on Twirly Gig when we return. It is Smokin' and Toastin'. We'll be right back.
Awesome.
Welcome back. It's Smokin' and Toastin'. We are live from the studio today. My name is Cruze. My co-host is Ian Barry. Adam Andrus on the Wheels of Steel producing the show. And Adam just told us during the break that, what is it, Eisenbach? What is that? What is the word for it? Einbach.
Einbach.
Is what Bock is taken from. And Einbach actually means billy goat.
Billy Goat.
Billy goat, yeah. So it does actually start with the goat reference. So that's why the goat
That's
getter
why
makes,
it's Goat Getter, I guess.
makes some sense. I swear. I really never got into the ugly sweater craze, but I would wear that ugly sweater if I had it.
With the
I
two beer
would.
mugs on
The
it,
two
yes.
beer mugs, yeah, it's just too good. Hey, something very interesting is being forecast for whiskey sales in the United States. Ian, according to the people who track these trends and the Distilled Spirits Council, Irish whiskey is being forecast to outsell Scotch in the United States within the next year.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you think about it, I mean, there's, everything from Jameson's to, the one we like so much, Slane. Yeah. There's so many great Irish whiskeys that have really come on strong. And if you think about it, Scotch, although certainly it sells very well, but there's not a whole lot of really great Scotches that are lower priced. You can find some really good lower priced Irish whiskeys, though.
Well, it depends on what you call lower priced.
Okay.
So if you're starting into the let's get outside of blended, because we know you can get some less expensive blended ones and fantastic blended ones like Monkey Shoulder, like at $35.
Yeah, I was going to say, but under $40.
Under $40 is where it starts to get tough, because some great scotches happen at about $45.
At about 45 to 50, right. But there are a number of really, really good and very popular Irish whiskeys that are
starting
under
at 20,
40. Yeah,
25.
starting at 20, 25, 30. So I think that might be the reason. I mean, Slane, I want to say, is under $25.
Yeah,
and it's
Slane's
delicious.
inexpensive. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I want to point out, Jameson's fantastic.
It really is.
You know, people who turn their nose up at Jameson, you're just turning your nose up because you think it's cool. Jameson is good whiskey.
Yeah, it really is.
Either that or you don't actually sip it, you just take shots of it. And guess what? Everything sucks when you take a shot of it.
Do you think that...
It's called palate shock. That's why you go, ugh.
You think that 31-year-old Balvenie would suck if you took a shot of it?
Yes. Everything. It's palate shock. Everything sucks when you take a shot of it.
I had a feeling. I always get a kick out of it on television and the movies when the guy's drinking whiskey and passes his buddy the bottle and the buddy goes, glug, 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 glug. That's not how you drink whiskey. That's how you get drunk.
If that's your goal, I mean, there's that. But that's why people do shots. People don't do shots because they enjoy doing shots.
Right.
They do shots because they're like, I want to get drunk.
Well, I was thinking, Ian, with St. Patrick's Day about a month away, and it's actually on a Thursday.
Oh, mercy.
So maybe we'll do, if we can maybe collect a little bit between now and then, maybe we could do an Irish whiskey blind taste test for St. Patrick's Day. Wouldn't that be fun?
I'll have to see what I have. I have a Tullamore Dew that's been sitting in a clay jar for a while.
I got a Tullamore Dew single malt. That's quite good.
I got that Teeling that I had before.
Yes,
just a
Teeling
little bit
is
of that.
Great, and we can certainly afford a bottle of Slane. So
Absolutely, we'll pick up a few here and there.
So yeah, maybe we'll do that. Let's talk about it. It's about a month away, but we'll be looking forward to doing that.
I think to back up your story, I think Irish whiskey. Yeah, it makes sense because it's the right price point too. That has a lot to do with it.
Let's do a little drinking here, shall we? Some lunch IPA, and after you pour, there's information about this whale I was mentioning named Lunch that's on that.
Nick says, I did a shot of True Blue from Balcones. Great whiskey, don't shoot it.
Yeah.
Agreed, man. Yeah, I mean, anything you shoot is going to suck. It's just instant palate shock.
Right. And it just doesn't make any sense.
Because you're not going to taste it unless you've just been drinking whiskey all night. Like, if you're drinking beer and then you do a shot of anything, it's going to taste like alcohol. And then,
That's absolutely right. It's absolutely right.
That just sucks.
Ooh, this has got such a nice bouquet on
if
the
you
nose.
know what you're getting into and you have something, for instance, like you've committed to a shot of Malort, that might just be worth getting over it.
That's a commitment you need
like,
to
don't
get
sip
over.
that.
A very simple label on this says Maine Beer Company, Lunch India Pale Ale, and underneath it says do what's right. So here's what it says. Lunch.
This smells like classic hops.
Yeah, it's got that floral hop bouquet to it. Lunch is a special whale that has been spotted off the Maine coast since 1982. She has what looks like a bite taken out of her fin, which adds to her unique character. We dedicate this beer to her determination and persistence. Keep on swimming.
Hey, I'm going to give them credit because this IPA has a little bit of a bite to it as well.
Oh, well, there you go. It's I didn't see the ABV. It is 7%.
This, it has a crisp, bitter bite to it, followed immediately by a sweet, malty backbone.
Yes, this is delicious.
This is fantastic.
Yeah, it really is. That is a really classic IPA.
Wow.
Classic
Good job,
IPA
guys.
style. Yeah, you're right. It's got a little bit of hop bitter, and then, like you said, there's a malty backbone that comes back and kind of dances with it.
Yeah, this is unapologetically bitter. I mean, there's no doubt about it, but bitter in a great way, bitter in like the way you want it to be. And then that sweetness follows right after it and doesn't leave it as too much bitter.
You know, in the early days of IPA, IPA always was bitter to some degree. It was only when the sort of New England style and the hazies and the juicies came along that you could drink an IPA that wasn't bitter. If you go back and drink like a St. Arnold, what's the one? Alyssa, thank you. I would start to say the tall ship one. The St. Arnold Alyssa, or if you go back, even drinking, one of the reasons I always liked Harpoon IPA, back when I first started drinking IPA, is it was very floral, and that balanced the bitter a little bit. But it still had that real bitter to it.
Yeah.
It was and like I said, it's only been recently that you can get IPAs that don't have
and
a bitterness.
bitter is different from resinous too. Like when you get that resiny pine cone flavor, you really better balance it, or you're just going to end up with a very one-dimensional, not very good flavor. This, however, is very well balanced.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's not one-dimensional at all. It is,
and the aftertaste on this is a bit bitter and floral and almost dandelion, if that makes any sense.
It does. They say, thank you for drinking our beer. You enable us to continue to do what's right, take care of our earth and the creatures that live on it, take care of our staff, and to keep making better beer. Maine Beer Company. That's pretty good credo.
Man,
there.
good job, guys. This is fantastic beer.
It really is.
If you find this, buy this. Even if you're not the biggest IPA guy, I'm going in for seconds.
Okay, now I've gotten beers before from the Maine Beer Company through like mail order, like the Tavor app.
Right.
My wife brought this one home from HEB, which for those of you who live outside of Texas, that's our like super cool kind of local chain or Texas chain grocery store. And she brought it home in my little beer sampler, and I was like, oh, I didn't know they had this at HEB.
has been crushing it in Texas.
They really have. So anyway, we'll sip on this and take a break.
You know one of the biggest things I like about HEB?
Yeah?
You don't need one of those freaking key fobs.
Oh, yes, and you don't need to enter your phone number
you
for
don't
your...
need to do any of that stuff.
Yeah, no, I like that. No loyalty club. I'm more loyal to them because they don't have a loyalty club.
100%.
Than if they did. All right, we'll be right back in our next segment. It's whiskey time. Glen, Scotia, which is not an Irish whiskey. It is
not.
Scotch.
Not Scottish, it's crap.
Welcome back into Smoking and Toasting. This is the program that is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. We're going to try to get into all of those things before we are done with the program here, so we're looking forward to that. Ian, let me start cranking on this list. Cigar, Half-Wheel Cigar website. One of the better cigar websites in my opinion.
I love Half Wheel.
Yeah, they just really seem to be a kind of no nonsense. You know, they're no BS, and I like that about them. They have gone out to all the lists that are published of cigars of the year because lots of people publish them, and they've kind of put together their consensus, what they call the.
It takes a certain mentality to compile a list from lists.
Yeah, I would get confused halfway in. I would lose my. So let me share these cigars with you. There's a tie at 24, so there is no 25. A tie at 24 between Daughters of the Wind, a Costa Rican cigar that is a Lancero with a little pigtail
never
cap.
heard of that.
I have not either, so I'm very excited to look for that and try one. There's a tie between that and the Laranya Reserva Azulejo, which is from Espinosa Premium Cigars and made in the San Latano factory, which means A.J. Fernandez is involved in this cigar.
Bruce Stark points out that if there's no BS, there's no Bruce Stark because that's his initials.
Okay,
so he's a little sad.
all right, Bruce. Well, we don't want to be without you, my friend. So, the Liga Privada H99 from Drew Estate is number 23 on the list. At number 21, tied actually for 21, the Cio Arcana Mortal Coil. You reviewed one of those.
I like the Mortal Coil. I think it's a great cigar.
They have it. It's a Nicaraguan cigar, and it's a CAO. It ties at number 21 with the 60 by Rocky Patel. And I got to tell you, I would have put that one higher.
That's a good cigar,
I had one of those this year, and it was so fantastic. At number 19, also tied, the La Palina Goldie. We've had La Palinas before.
I haven't tried
but
the
this
Goldie.
is a Lancero with a not just a pigtail cap, but it almost looks like the top of a package. You know, they've got the it's a very flourished out pigtail cap. That ties at 19 with the Casa Cuevas Patrimonio. So these ties are interesting because it tells me they really had some kind of a formula to compile this list. At number 18, the Stolen Throne Crook of the Crown from Stolen Throne Cigars. It's a Nicaraguan cigar, and it has a Mexican San Andres binder, a wrapper, binder from Indonesia.
Yeah, look how dark that wrapper is. It looks beautiful.
Filler from Nicaragua. So you can find this list, by the way, on the Half Wheel side if you want to take a look at what these cigars look like. At number 17, the La Flor Dominicana Andalusian Bull. Boy, is that a great
I love that cigar.
It really, really is
such
terrific.
a good cigar. It's a little hard to find and a little expensive, and it's worth it when you do both.
Yes, it's absolutely worth it. At number 16, from Dumbarton Tobacco and Trust, the Sobremesa Brûlée Brew. I have had this Brûlée Blue, rather not brew. I've had this cigar. It is quite exceptional.
Yes.
Very, very good. The Rojas Street Tacos Barbacoa cigar.
If I'd have seen that, I'd have bought
15.
it.
Yeah, well,
that's how I know I haven't tried that one. If I would have seen that,
it's got a Day of the Dead guy with what looks like tomato slices for eyes.
You would have had to buy it.
I would have had to buy
it.
Yeah. It's from Rojas Cigars. It's a Nicaraguan cigar. It's in at number 15. At 14, the Aging Room Rare Collection is.
Yeah, I did a review on that. Just this last year.
That's a really good cigar too. The Liga Privada Bauhaus is at number 13. I've not had the Bauhaus.
I haven't seen it.
I've had a number of Drew Estate Liga Privada cigars, but not that one. The Plasencia Almafuerte Sixto, Colorado, is in at number 12. I think we both had one of those. In fact, I think you gave me one of those, didn't you?
Those are great.
Yeah, I believe so. The EP Carrillo Pledge, or the Perez Carrillo Pledge, is at number 11. That was number 1 on Cigar Aficionado last year. Yeah, so
good.
So there's that. At number 10, the Davidoff Winston Churchill Limited Edition 2021.
Let me tell you something about the Davidoff Winston Churchills.
Yeah?
They're fantastic.
Yes, they are.
They're way pricey.
Yeah. Let me tell you something else about this cigar. It's priced at $32
for the single.
For the single.
Yeah. So just so you know, Davidoff cigars, the Winston Churchill series. If you want to treat yourself and you don't want something that's too heavy of a cigar, that is a great place to go. You're going to get a great cigar. They're expensive though.
Their number 9 cigar is the best cigar that I have smoked in the last several years, at least. The Montecristo 1935 anniversary, Nicaragua, made in the San Latano factory by none other than our buddy.
That is a great
AJ
cigar.
Fernandez.
We both reviewed
wonderful.
that just recently.
Yeah. An expensive cigar.
It just came out too,
and I gave it a huge rating.
Was it $16 for
it's
for that size? Yeah,
worth every penny and more. The Aganorsa Leaf Rare Leaf Reserve comes in at number 8.
I haven't tried that.
I know it's a really delicious looking cigar too.
Looks pretty.
If you're into like cigar porn, go look at this list because you'll look at these and go ooh. The Alec and Bradley Kintsugi is number 7.
I just did a review on that one.
You just did, and I had one of those this year as well. Very good. The Davidoff Dominicana at number 6. It is it's between $18.50 and $24, so it's not quite as pricey as the Winston Churchill.
I haven't had one of those in a while.
Actually outpaces it. The Davidoff Dominicana Supreme Leaf from Aganorsa Leaf comes in at number 5. It's around a $10 cigar. The Joya de Nicaragua 200 is number 4.
Ooh, I hadn't tried that one.
I think I've had several of the lines since they rebranded, but I don't think I've had that particular one. So I'm gonna have to go get me a 200. Aventura, the Royal Return, Queen's Pearls. Not familiar with this cigar at all. But it is put together in the Tabacalera William Ventura factory. It's got an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, Ecuadorian Connecticut binder, and filler tobacco from the DR, Ecuador, and Nicaragua. About a $12 to $15 cigar. Number 2 on this list is the Sin Compromiso Paladin de Saca. It's from Dumbarton Tobacco and Trust, and it is a great-looking little
I believe I did a review
cigar.
on that not too long ago, too.
And at number 1, the Undercrown 10. That's the one that has the little... it has the undercrown band,
up.
And then it's got that little sash running down the middle.
It's dressed up.
It's pretty darn cool. So.
It's called, what's that series called? It's called the, it's like dressed up or formal series.
All decked out.
Decked out series, yeah. So it was something
series.
like that.
Yeah. So anyway, there's your list. Half Wheel, thank you for doing that. They stress that this is not the Half Wheel list. This is their consensus list of putting everything together. So I noticed you took a moment to very carefully pour there. since the neck was uncleared, and that's that's good
I
of
want
you.
to keep that one.
I may. It looks nice and big.
I poured that one a little heavy because I wanted to get the glug 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 from the bottle there.
And I appreciate your dedication to creating appropriate sound effects. And I'm going to appreciate it even more when I drink the Glen Scotia.
Campbelltown whiskey.
Yeah. So single malt Scotch, distilled, matured, and bottled in Scotland. Classic Campbelltown malt, finished in mature American oak, and Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. Rich and spicy, it says.
So Campbelltown is interesting. There's five regions in Scotland: Speyside, Islay, Ela, I think they actually say, or Island, Highland, Lowland, and then Campbelltown. And Campbelltown has the least amount of distilleries out of
Yeah, you
any
mentioned
of
there's only like
them.
three of them.
Three.
Right?
There's Glengyle, Springbank, and Glen Scotia. This is the Glen Scotia. They don't have a whole lot of expressions in their line. I think Glen Scotia only has 4 or 5 expressions in their entire line. I could probably figure it out if I look.
Well, I can tell you this. This expresses itself very well, even just in the.
But
in the cup.
it's distinctive, and it's distinctively different from what you expect when you think Scotch. What I say on here is dried fruit, vanilla, toffee, and brine with a dry, pungent body. I'm going to go with the toffee.
Get the toffee on the nose for sure.
Toffee and caramel in this particular one a lot.
And I think I get the brine.
There's also kind of a wine, kind of dry backbone just to the nose on this. Ralph, you said this was what kind of casks? Sherry casks.
Yeah, there is a sherry cask and a mature American oak cask.
But this has a dark, fruity flavor, if any. Like when you think fruity flavors in Scotch, you think more of the bright flavors, or even like especially if you get a Glenlivet, you have that very apple kind of flavor, those kind of brighter fruity flavors. This has a very dark, brooding kind of fruity flavor to it,
like
with a little caramel
like
and little
really ripe grapes, maybe a little bit of date. It's delicious. It's got a real. You said distinctive, and it is distinctive.
There's also a little bit of a tobacco-y kind of flavor to it as well that I really enjoy about this. This
Almost
is complex. There's so many things going on in this particular whiskey, and I want to tell you, if you want to impress people with the badass whiskey, this is like $60.
Okay,
it's not incredibly expensive as whiskey goes. It's that's pretty inexpensive overall. And it's always available. It's 46% alcohol proof. And this is one that is always on my shelf. I forget how much I like it.
It has a very warm and welcoming whiskey hug, too.
Very much.
That comes back to you very slowly. It's kind of like being embraced in the arms of a familiar lover.
They mention on that, what did I say? Saltiness or brine, they say. It has, I think you can just about taste the seawater around it to a certain degree.
And you know, that whole region of the world is a very sort of seawater, salty, very humid kind of an area of the planet, you know?
And for those of you wondering, it's not peaty.
No, it's not at all.
No.
Yeah,
not at all.
Not
it's not a peaty whiskey. So even though it's Scotch, you can't immediately say, "Oh, I don't like Scotch because of peat." This is not peaty at all. It is wonderful. There's a little char to the finish on it as well. Caramel, big time.
Yeah.
It's just got so many little subtle things going on.
Really good because you kind of taste something different each time. You know, each sip, which makes it a fun whiskey to drink too. You know,
it's great with water. It's great with ice.
Yeah.
And it's great like this. There's a cinnamon kind of thing going on to it as well, kind of a cinnamon spiciness to it, or it almost tips into a savory spice.
Did you ever, when you were a kid, chew on any of those cinnamon toothpicks they used to have?
Yeah.
It reminds me of like after you chewed on one of those, and then you take it out of your mouth, and that cinnamon and wood kind of lingers in your mouth. Yeah, I like it. Very, very, very delicious, and that's going to definitely go on my must-buy list. I dig it. That's the first. I've not had a Glen Scotia before. You said they have only a handful of expressions in their line, right?
Glen Scotia doesn't carry that many expressions. They have. Let me. Let's see here. They have a list of their.
Really good.
Okay, so they have the double cask, which is this one, the 15, Victoriana, which is I haven't had it, but it's supposed to be amazing. They have an 18 and a 25-year-old.
Okay, well, it's respectable, but not over the top for sure.
Yeah, they don't have that many. It's not as popular, I think, as a lot of other regions as well. But it's an incredibly interesting whiskey, and I think worth every penny of what you're paying for this bottle.
I kind of dig it.
As this is about my third or fourth bottle of this,
and that's not a bad thing.
I love the what do you call that? It's screening on the glass too of the.
Yeah, I do too. That's very classy.
The distillery and the
very classy. Makes you want to visit.
Port there.
Want to tell you about some cigars to watch for before we take a break. For more than 2 decades, General Cigar Company has released limited annual runs of its Punch Rare Corojo series. And this year, they've resurrected a size that's meant to resemble a baseball bat. According to company lore, the new Aristocrat Punch Rare Corojo is based on an old shape that was originally made for cigar smoking sports legends Red Auerbach from the Boston Celtics and Art Rooney, back when the Punch brand was owned by Villazon and Company. It's tapered like a Louisville Slugger, and it measures 6 1/8 inches long with a 54 ring gauge at its fattest point. It's Ecuador Sumatra seed wrapper, covering a Connecticut broadleaf filler, binder, and a filler blend of Nicaraguan, Honduran, and Dominican tobacco. It is a limited release, priced at $9.99 a cigar. So that's not outrageous for something limited release, special shape, all of that kind of stuff. So.
I think sometimes we get a mental issue with cigars that aren't priced really high, especially when they're limited release. People think, oh, well, it's not priced that high, so it can't be that good.
Honestly, my go-to cigars are in the $6 to $8 range.
Yeah,
it's hard for me really, unless I'm, just wanting to try something, or I'm justifying it by saying I want to smoke it so I can talk about it on the show. It's hard for me to really justify the $12 and up cigars, with a few exceptions, of course. But it's just not something I smoke all that often.
I buy super premiums on rare occasions, and I stick them in my humidor and save them for rare occasions.
Rare occasions, or when the pandemic makes you empty your humidor of everything else, and that's all you've got left.
Yeah, there's that. But I mean, you can't deny that a Plasencia Almafuerte is not absolutely fantastic.
And the Andalusian Bull.
And the Andalusian Bull. So you're talking about $18 to $19 for an Andalusian Bull. You're talking about $22 for an Almafuerte.
Well,
and they're fantastic. They're absolutely worth it.
We just have talked about that. The one that AJ did, the
135th,
the
Montecristo,
the Montecristo. Thank you. That thing is worth every penny and more.
And it's $16 for the medium size, small
for
size.
The Toro, I think.
Toro,
yeah. So also coming out, the Cio Arcana series, which emphasizes unusual tobacco. They're getting a new release this week, and it contains tobacco that has been fermented through a rather obscure method. They bury it in the ground.
Huh.
Yeah, that's interesting, right? The new blend is called Firewalker, and the defining earth-fermented leaf is found inside the filler. It's a Nicaraguan filler. According to Scandinavian Tobacco Group, the parent company, the filler is grown in the Nicaragua Mastepe region, and it's assembled into a pilon and then buried in the volcanic soil for 2 months.
For anybody not knowing what the pilon is, that is the large pile of leaves that are stacked and bundled. Yes.
After that, the tobacco goes to the factory for 9 months of secondary fermentation, and it's a very unusual process. It's a limited edition Cio Arcana Firewalker in one size. It's a thick Toro, and only 5,000 boxes are being produced. $11.99 suggested retail.
We're going to have to try that.
Yeah, that does sound good, doesn't it? And finally, the Diesel Sunday Gravy series. We've talked about these.
Gravy.
We talked about these cigars before. They're called Sunday Gravy. It is making a saucy return with the third release in the line. It is called Rosa Marino. It is made in Nicaragua by AJ Fernandez.
Yeah, what does he know?
Yeah, well, it started in July when Forged, a distribution arm of Scandinavian Tobacco Group, released its first diesel Sunday Gravy, the San Marzano brand. And then in October, this is last year, the Sunday Gravy Man, I'm not good with my pronunciation today. The Pecorino made its way to market. And then on February 28th, the Diesel Sunday Gravy Rosa Marino will be shipping to retailers. According to Forge, the name Rosa Marino is supposed to be a nod to the complexity that rosemary tends to lend to any dish. However, the Italian translation for the word rosemary is Rosmarino without the A, but they added the A in there. But they wanted to stress to people there's no dried rosemary in the cigar. Right. They're just talking about the way that rosemary it kind of infuses something when you put it in to a dish. Instead, the Diesel Sunday Gravy will consist solely of Nicaraguan tobacco, including a binder from Cordega and a filler blend from Cordego Esteli and the volcanic island of Ometepe, which is that's really sought after Nicaraguan tobacco.
It's also fun to say.
It is Ometepe. That does sound like a classic god from like in Star Trek when they would land on a planet and the natives all worshipped Ometepe. Cigars come in one size. It's a Toro, and it's in a 50 ring gauge, and it's going to be sold in 10 packs. So there you go.
You know what goes well with cigars? This whiskey.
I bet it does. I bet this pairs nicely. It's just got such a great vibe to it. All right, it is almost time for drinking news. We'll do that in the next segment, and we still have one more beer that we want to get our heads around here, or at least our mouths, and that is the Brooklyn Brewery Black Chocolate Stout. It's an Imperial Stout, Brooklyn Brewery out of Utica, New York. We'll be right back with more of that and drinking news coming up. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. This is the program that is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars.
Good things.
We want to again, mention that we were going to be doing a wine show today. We changed gears a little bit because Mark Burrell couldn't make it. We had him scheduled to be on. He'll be postponed to another time. We won't be able to get you great wines for Valentine's, but maybe we'll do great wines for spring or for the beginning of the summer when you're headed out doing picnics and stuff.
My wife and I already went and did our Valentine dinner.
Yeah, and you went to the Rainbow Room, didn't you?
To the Rainbow Lodge. Yes.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah,
we had a bottle of wine
that
Mark suggested. I had the antelope, and it was amazing.
The last time that my wife and I went there, we had the sparkling wine that Mark had brought on the show. That was so good. I can't remember the name of it now. It was a British sparkling wine. That's all I remember. It was so good. Oh, man. So if you go to the Rainbow Lodge, if you're in the Houston area, our buddy there, Mark Burrell, who is our Smoking and Toasting wine expert, just ask for him and then drink whatever he suggests.
Yeah.
That's because when you have somebody that knows that much, it's like trying to fix your car if you know very little about automobiles and your buddy is a master mechanic.
Right.
It's like, don't do it. Just ask him to help, and that's the way it is with Mark. Ask him for info, ask him for recommendations, and when he says, I think you should choose this one, choose it. Don't.
And he'll ask you straight out too. He'll say, what is your price point? Where do you
right? And he'll also ask, what do you like?
Yeah.
What style? What kind of thing?
So you don't have to feel weird or embarrassed if you're not used to that kind of thing. If you are used to that kind of thing, great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the time has arrived for the most popular segment of the program. I don't know how, but apparently it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your drinking news.
Drinking news, drinking news. Time is nigh for drinking news. I just wanted to say the word nigh. Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said, I
had to take my gator to the vet.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all.
Was that Steve? That sounded like Steve.
That was Rowdy Yates.
Oh, it was Rowdy. Okay.
Yes, it was. A star-studded drinking news here, ladies and gentlemen.
I love that.
So I just wanted to mention whiskey is so freaking good. It really just
It
is.
really is.
It really is just like killing me. It's so good. And that brings me to the point about drinking news that we always try to remind you that these are stories that we bring you that are true stories. They've appeared somewhere in a semi-reputable news source. They're not from The Onion. They're not, something we know to be made up. But they are stories that sometimes are about drinking, not always, but they are always best enjoyed if you've been drinking, and certainly we have. So I hope you will enjoy this, and it will go well with this Glen Scotia that we've been drinking. Well, you've all heard the term, although I've always kind of hated it because it seems so stupid. But we've all heard amorous activity described before as, and I'm quoting here, hot monkey love. You've
That's
heard
what
that
they
phrase.
called me in high school.
Yeah, you've heard that phrase. I told you it was stupid. But what do you do if you're a zoo, especially a monkey zoo, and you need more monkeys, like the endangered species of monkey that is your primary monkey that you host in the zoo
Your primary
that's
attraction.
in your care, right? But the ones you have don't seem all that interested in any, and I can't believe I'm saying this, hot monkey love. Well, a British zoo decided recently that they weren't going to just stand around and wait for their monkeys to mate. They were going to do something about it.
What do you just put on, like, monkey porn?
Well, it's better than that.
What's better than that?
So the Trentham Monkey Forest in Stafford, England, decided that a little sexual healing was in order. And, I guess they have a point. If your monkeys seem more interested in throwing their own poo at people or at each other than engaging in some hot... I'm sorry, I can't say it again. If your monkeys aren't in the mood for love, maybe you can try to influence them. Now, of course, I would not recommend monkey Viagra. Some of these poor female monkeys could really get hurt. And we don't need any zoo employees standing around for 4 hours just to make sure that none of the male primates haven't had that long-term erection that the Viagra people say means you should probably call your doctor. I can only imagine the zookeeper handing out the daily assignments. Bob, you're on monkey erection watch today. Keep your eyes on these guys at all times and make sure none of them are keeping it up for more than 4 hours. At that point, Bob throws in the towel and on being a good zoo employee and quits to start that online cryptocurrency firm that he's always wanted to launch. So, no, monkey Viagra is not the answer. But the staff at the Trentham Monkey Forest did not let that stop them.
He said staff.
After a lively staff meeting, I said staff again, where, by the way, no one was more relieved than Bob, a clever new idea was hatched and put into place immediately. The Trentham Monkey Forest decided that music not only soothes the savage beast, but it also might work to put the hapless monkeys in the mood for love.
Oh.
So they hired a Marvin Gaye impersonator, and this is true, to sing sexy songs to the monkeys in order to encourage them to do a little dance, make a little love, get down tonight.
Not a Marvin Gaye song.
Yes, I know that's Casey and the Sunshine Band, not Marvin Gaye, but the point still stands. And if you don't believe me, we actually have photographic proof.
Digitally
Adam, would you
rendered photographic evidence?
Yeah. And believe me, it's worth going to the YouTube video to see if you are not.
I don't even know what to say.
The Marvin Gaye impersonator looks pretty good. The monkeys look kind of bored, actually. They're like, yeah, whatever. So the Monkey Zoo hired David Largy, who is described as an experienced Marvin Gaye impersonator, to perform selections from the Soul Legends catalog, including songs like Sexual Healing, inside the Barbary macaque habit. And for those of you who are already starting to snicker, macaque is a term for 22 species of old world monkeys, not what your dirty mind is thinking it is.
That's not two words, that's one.
Yeah, look it up. The parks director, Matt Lovett, said, "We thought it would be a creative way to encourage our females to show a little affection to the males that might not have been so lucky in love." He also said that the zookeepers expect to discover whether the singer's visit had any effect on the monkeys when birthing season arrives in the spring or early summer. You may wonder sometimes about the authenticity of the stories that we bring you here on Drinking News. But the photo speaks for itself. And I think you have to admit that as crazy as this sounds, it actually has to be legit, Because you cannot make this shit up.
But did it work?
Oh, we don't know. We won't know till the
It's still
in the spring.
This
just happened.
As a musician, I'm trying to get into the mind of a musician that has now been approached
to sing to the monkeys.
to sing to a bunch of monkeys. Like, I've played some tough rooms.
Yeah, you played some things that probably are only about a half a step above that, but still.
I've been the musical equivalent of wallpaper. Mm-hmm. In some rooms.
Yeah.
I've been the star of the show in some rooms.
Yep.
I'm trying to imagine what I would think. I mean, like, have you actually, here's big air quotes, made it when you're playing
the Barbary macaque?
And I like
exhibit?
that they actually point out that he's an experienced.
Yes. No, this isn't
Marvin Gaye impersonator.
This isn't just some guy that Bob knew that kind of does a Marvin Gaye impression. This guy does this apparently for a living. Yeah, that's like I said, you cannot make this up. You just can't.
I've been really trying.
Reporting live from the Barbary macaque habitat. I said macaque. At the Trentham Monkey Forest, and really hoping that dude sings Let's Get It On next. I love that song. My name is Cruze, and that is your
Drinking News. Now it's time for Drinking News.
Cheers, y'all. That photo is worth 1,000 words.
Oh, it's too
What
funny.
I love is how bored the monkeys look.
Yeah, they're like, what the hell's going on here?
You know, first of all, anytime you're an impersonator, you always are dealing with that. You know, you have to be dealing with that thing. Like if you're in a tribute band, you're like, yeah, the audience loves us, but we ain't the Eagles, really. You know what I mean? We're just a group that's covering their songs and trying to sound a little bit like them. You're not going to be rock stars. You know what I mean?
Right.
It is what
Those
it is.
shows sell out, though.
Oh, I know.
That's crazy.
Well, I think one of the reasons they sell out is because you can go see that band for $12, and the Eagles you can go see them for like $1,200.
Yeah.
So I think that might be part of the reason. But anyway, I digress. The whole point of the thing is, though, if you're a Marvin Gaye impersonator, first of all, you're already used to the fact that you know you're singing to audiences who know you're not Marvin Gaye. You know, they may enjoy it, but they're not going to go crazy over you like you were Marvin Gaye. Then you get the call to come sing to the monkeys. It's got to be.
Hey, I'm going to point out, though, out of all the shows I've done, if I got a call to sing in front of monkeys, at least I know at the end of my gig, I don't have a drunk monkey coming up to me going, you know what you should do.
And what is the most sage advice you've ever
My
gotten
favorite
from a person
is
like that?
After listening to, 5 or 7 minutes of you know what you should do, I look at the guy and go, oh, hang out at a bar at 1:30 on a Tuesday night?
That's good. That's actually really good. Now, you're playing
Because you're
right
obviously winning, buddy.
now. You're playing in a band right now, sometimes that's like a country cover band.
I'm playing
right?
in a country band. Well, it's not entirely a cover band. It's,
Okay, so
it's
you got
about half and
originals?
half. Yeah, we got
Oh, that's
half
cool.
originals,
That's cool.
half covers. We're actually be doing a rodeo. We're doing one of the tents in a rodeo.
No kidding. That's
coming
cool.
up the end of the month. Yeah,
That's cool. That's very cool. Well, and I know you weren't a big country guy, so you probably had to learn a lot of country songs, didn't you?
yeah. I know. I was familiar with some of the songs, some of them not at all.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when we're hanging out, those guys, they're all steeped in country.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so steeped in country that we took time off for hunting season.
That's good.
Like
that's good.
it's seriously
That's
a very,
seriously
very country band.
yeah.
They all talk about their side by sides all the time. And if you don't know what that is, then you are obviously not country. Because they upgrade them and all this other stuff. Anyway, but
We just
and
went
I
down-
can't imagine what they think about me when they're like, "Well,
Yeah.
you've heard this artist before." I'm like, "Huh?" That's been
You're
out
like-
for years.
You're like, man, I just play guitar. Are you playing guitar or bass in the
I'm
band?
playing bass in this one.
You're
Yeah.
like, I just play bass. That's
play
what
bass.
I do.
Play
Yeah.
bass.
Well, anyway, I'm glad you're doing that though. You know,
That's a lot of fun. I like the guys.
Expand your horizons.
The
a
music's
little bit.
fun.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's what it is. It's a good time.
Love it. We are smoking and toasting, not Musicians Weekly, but we like to talk about a little bit of everything. And right now we want to talk about some black chocolate stout from Brooklyn Brewery. I'm a fan of Brooklyn Brewery, and this chocolate stout is not something I've ever tried before. You haven't had this, have you? You haven't had the stout?
I've seen it before. I don't think I've actually had it.
Well, it's very interesting because, when it comes to Imperial Stouts, very often you're seeing them in bombers, and this is just in a regular kind of a 12-ounce bottle, which, as we have learned, by the way, doesn't mean you should lower your expectations because...
It says right on the label, this is winter 2021 when it was brewed.
Well, this is I'm really excited about this. Oh...
Very classy looking label.
Wait till you get your first whiff of this. This is very, very
For all
interesting.
You
Yeah, it
like
is very classy.
Very classy looking.
Little script.
Little script on there. No pictures or anything, but Oh,
Brooklyn,
it smells good.
Brooklyn
is
a very consistently
smells coffee.
good brewery.
It smells chocolate. It smells very bitter, dark chocolate.
Ooh, it is. It is like a dark chocolate bomb. Usually when you describe something as a chocolate bomb, you're talking about that slightly sweeter, more maybe milk chocolatey thing. This is not that at all. This is like,
No, this is bitter like some of my exes. This is like, this is not sweet at all.
No, like some of your exes. So this is this is actually, it's really a taste sensation. It reminds me, there are these down at the store downstairs in my building in Phoenicia. They have all these great like nuts and different things. One of the things they have is dark chocolate almonds. They come in a little tub, and this reminds me of that. It's just so dark and dense and gritty.
Yeah.
So
and
wonderful.
if you go by Buc-ee's,
oh, dude,
you can get the dark chocolate roasted pecans.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Oh my gosh.
They really are.
Yeah,
Buc-ee's.
this is not sweet. This is an Imperial Stout that has very little sweetness. It is bitter
Right.
and
It
ridiculous.
doesn't have any of that marshmallowy.
It's very coffee-like
Yeah,
bitter.
it's very
to it.
coffee and dark chocolate. Honestly, it is almost like equal parts coffee and dark chocolate. But
This is
maybe even
beautiful in that way.
espresso.
Like, when you open baking chocolate and it smells so good, but then
Mm-hmm.
you taste it, it's so incredibly bitter. Because we've all done that when we were a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what? But this is beautiful in that way because it is
Yes.
like you expect this to be tons sweeter than it is, and it's not.
And the coffee vibe is almost more espresso. It's like
Mm-hmm.
really dark and intense. It's really good. This is a delicious stout.
This is what people are afraid of when they see a dark beer. This is literally what they expect it to be like.
I don't
It's
think you should.
incredibly dark, incredibly bitter, and
I don't
wonderful.
think you should fear this beer at all. It's very as
Well, I'm
dark
talking
and
about
roasty. It's very accessible though.
I'm talking about the people that buy the macro brew for the Vortex bottle,
right,
when they go, I don't drink that dark beer. This is literally what they're talking about, and it's a beautiful thing because of it.
So speaking of macro beer, we mentioned obviously Super Bowl is this weekend. Hold on. NFL.
$78.
$8, yeah. The Super Bowl is this weekend, which almost always means a fresh round of at least an attempt to be really creative advertising from Budweiser. You may remember it was the Super Bowl several years ago when the Dilly Dilly campaign took flight.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what to expect this year, but it'll be interesting to see
how
what
can we
these
put
guys
out a
do.
campaign to make fun of people that buy beers that we buy breweries that make those
beers. I know it makes no sense, and to me, what I loved / hated about that campaign was that they were just so blatantly making fun of you if you liked something better.
If you like flavor.
Yeah, remember
It's for the many.
Bud Light is for the many.
This is kind of like being in high school where people would make fun of you for being smart.
Right.
Yeah, that's something to be
Yeah.
made fun of for,
Yeah,
right?
you're such a nerd. You're so smart.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
that's dumb.
Let's see who can hold a job once school is out. But no, seriously, there's always it's almost more interesting than the game in many ways. Is waiting to see what Budweiser is going to do. Will they literally embarrass themselves again? Now, I got to admit, as much as I'm not a fan of the beer, the Clydesdales are pretty darn cool, and I enjoy seeing them, and they often only drag them out at Christmas and Super Bowl for their commercials. But I do enjoy seeing the Clydesdales, even if they are, like, pretending that they're playing football.
So, one of the best macro brew experiences I ever had was I was in Florida, oddly enough, and I went to, I believe it was SeaWorld there. They have the hospitality house there. They have the Clydesdales and stuff like that.
Oh, that's so cool.
And,
Because they're
they give
sea
you-
creatures.
And they
those
give you free
Scotias.
beer.
You got to love that.
And it was okay. You know, I mean, it was all right. It's a nice looking.
The price was right.
The price was right. You know, but I love the marketing that Budweiser does. The classic marketing. You know, I mean, everyone who didn't want one of those big badass Budweiser mirrors? Way back when?
Yeah, back in the day.
You
sure.
know, those super gaudy, beautifully.
I will admit something to you. I used to have and actually use a Budweiser beach towel with Spuds McKenzie on it.
But the classic marketing for those was so effective. It's like Jack Daniel's, Old Number 7.
Sure.
You know, I don't like that whiskey. I like almost everything else that Jack Daniel's does, but that whiskey I just don't think is good. But their marketing is brilliant. You want to be a part of that Jack Daniel's label. You want to be a part of Budweiser's label. Miller never achieved that.
No, even though they made better beer, they never achieved that.
And Michelob never achieved that. But Budweiser really got that status. You wanted that stuff. And there's a brilliance to that. And now they've spent the last 30 years trashing that. Absolutely trashing that.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens at the Super Bowl.
It's kind of sad. It'll be fun to watch. It's always fun to watch. Well, this chocolate stout is absolutely delicious, but I don't know if anything can hold a candle. You want some more of this? I don't know if anything can hold a candle.
Look how sickly that looks. It looks so bad.
It looks as nasty as it tasted, I can tell you. And I don't know if you
know what?
see
That's
that.
probably room temperature now. You want to see how it stands up?
I do not. I do not. I have accustomed my taste buds to a fine Glen Scotia whiskey and a really delicious black chocolate stout. I do not wish to go back.
Yeah. I mean, this is a lot like a Budweiser if you took the Budweiser and threw it away and bought real beer.
That works for me. Yeah, that absolutely works for me. Oh, man. All right, so we're going to take a break.
This bottle is neither cold activated nor vortex on the neck.
And somehow...
And the beer is still good.
The beer is still good. Yeah, how does that even happen? I don't know. Maybe you could vortex me some more in there while we take a break.
I got you back.
It's Smoking and Toasting. We will be right back with our wrap-up finale and tell you what we have coming up in the next couple of weeks here on the show. We're very excited. Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting. We are so thrilled to be here for you on this unseasonably warm day here for us in Texas. It's
I got shorts and a t-shirt
70
on.
degrees outside. It's absolutely awesome. I wore a Hawaiian
polo shirt, I guess.
Wore a Hawaiian shirt just to celebrate and be excited. It occurred to me that we kind of teased on the show. Actually, we put it in the title. That we would talk about the best whiskeys of 2021. We haven't talked about it, so I'm going to try to cover this real quick in our final
I see an Angel's Envy
segment here.
bottle in the picture.
You see what?
I saw an Angel's Envy bottle in the picture.
That's always a good sign. So there's 15 whiskeys. This is a list from Paste, which, by the way, I love Paste as an online. They cover all kinds of things.
Yeah.
They do weekly TV power rankings. They do stories about music, all kinds of stuff. But they did a list of the 15 best new whiskeys of 2021. So these are all going to be things that came out in 2021. Let's go down this list real quickly. The Balvenie Edge of Burnhead Wood. It's a $300 bottle. You know what we got to do, Ian? We got to get the Balvenie boys back on and see if they'll bring in some of that
please.
for us to taste. Wouldn't that be great? The Bardstown Bourbon Company Discovery Series number 5, a $130 bottle of whiskey. So
okay.
The boys at Paste apparently have some discretionary income. Also coming in at $300.
Is that Barrel, I see?
Barrel Craft Spirits Gold Label. Now, we've had Barrel. We've had representatives from Barrel on the show before.
Yeah.
But they've never brought us anything from the Gold Label series. So that would be a very interesting thing to try. Booker's Bourbon Bardstown Batch, a $90 bottle, which seems downright affordable.
Yeah.
Booker's is so good. I've got about that much Little Book.
Oh, the Little
left.
Book. I finished mine so fast.
And I keep looking at it.
I just
going,
drank it.
I want it, but I don't want to not have it anymore. It's one of those.
Have your bookers and drink it too.
Yeah,
it's
that's
difficult.
right. Buzzard's Roost, barrel strength straight bourbon whiskey, coming in at $85.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, some whiskey geeks, they say, still turn up their nose at bourbon from non-producer distillers, but some of them in the market are actually on the forefront of experimentation, even if they don't distill their own. One of those is Buzzard's Roost, they say. The Cascade Moon Edition number 2, a $250 bottle. From Cascade Hollow Distilling, better known to bourbon drinkers as just George Dickel. So, after their flagship brand. Diageo special releases Lagavulin 12-year, The Lion's Fire. I just like the name. I would buy that just for the name. If I had an
What's
extra
the price coming
$150 to
Ouch,
spare.
yeah. Lagavulin, I'm
Yeah.
a fan of Lagavulin, but that's also going to be very smoky and very peaty.
All right, so can you come up with $70?
Yeah.
Because if you can get the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Bourbon, C921.
Elijah Craig's great.
Yeah, they were. Even if you buy just their least expensive, it's so good.
Yeah, it's $35 and
it's
fantastic.
Totally works.
Absolutely,
it's totally
100%.
good. It's got.
I
it's
actually
got
have that barrel proof at the house.
It's got that. It's got that in common with Buffalo Trace.
Yep.
It's not expensive, but it's just high
That
quality.
barrel proof that you have on there was actually
Yeah.
a gift from Alan Denny. I have that at the house. It's
Alan
fantastic.
Denny. Nice. By the way, we have
Hard
a
to
show,
find.
We have a show coming up.
Not Alan Denny, but the whiskey.
Yeah, no, Alan Denny's usually fairly easy
He's
to
pretty
find.
easy to find.
Yeah,
He's
just
at
head for
he's
the
at
bar.
cigar shop. Yeah.
Head for the bar, you can find him. Speaking of Alan Denny, by the way, we have a show scheduled to go down there and smoke on his back deck, and I think Trenton from Oliva is going to join us. So
That'll be fun.
That's going to be fun. Also on the list at $150, the Four Roses limited edition small batch, the 2021 release. Four Roses.
Man, at $150.
You almost can't go wrong with Four Roses, though.
Oh.
It's kind of like Elijah Craig. It's like there's not really anything in their line that's not like good, to quote Campbell Soup. How about Old Fitzgerald Spring 2021? It's an 8-year. Sale price is $85 for that. Old Forester's Birthday Bourbon 2021.
Now, this is the one that comes in a funny-looking
Right,
squat
it's kind of a
bottle.
squatty bottle. Yeah, it looks like the
Used to make it look like
Perrot rum bottle.
Right.
Yeah. It's $130 suggested retail. Old Forester Rye single barrel cask strength.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
$80.
Yeah.
$80 for the bottle on that.
Oh, for the whole Old Forester line, though, man, you can't go wrong with any of it. The Prohibition style, the bottled in bond, it's so good. Man, go Old Forester.
Parker's Heritage number 15 heavy char wheat whiskey.
Don't know it.
$140. Does sound interesting, doesn't it? Remus Repeal Reserve Series 5 or Series V, $90 on that one. And Russell's Reserve 13-year at $70 for the whiskey.
Russell's Reserve makes some pretty respectable stuff.
Really do. Sweeten's Cove Tennessee Bourbon is on the list. And then they have a few additional spirits here. Ron Abuelo Two Oaks Años Rum. That is on the list. Appleton Estate 15-year Black River Cask Rum
Interesting.
is on the list. That one, $65. Chairman's Reserve Legacy Rum, $43. Holmes Key South Africa MOBA 2017 Rum at $109. And Montgay Rum Master Blender Collection Andean Oak at $195. Some tequila, the Basote Tequila Reposado at $59. The Patch, Patsch Tequila Blanco at $68.
Those are bizarre-looking bottles. Look them up.
They almost look like they've got a
Glass knuckles.
Yeah, right. Not brass knuckles, but glass knuckles on the side of the bottle. And then bonus awards, best pure value in bourbon. The Evan Williams 1783 small batch at $20 a bottle.
Evan Williams small batch. Nice.
So think about that and remember that. So that's the bulk of the list, but I wanted to share that because it was in the title of the show for today. So I thought maybe we shouldn't skip it. It's been a fun show. Thank you for for bringing this whiskey that was so good. I'm now enjoying going back and forth between it and the Brooklyn Stout. It's really absolutely delicious and shows you what a great beer and a great whiskey can do.
Yeah, these
to
actually pair
complement each
together
other.
really well.
Really beautiful. Well, thank you guys for being with us on today's show. I want to let you know about a couple of things upcoming. Peter Clifton joins us next week. He is one of our cocktail experts here on the show, and he'll be making some interesting and delicious cocktails for
It's fun. We have
for
two
spring.
cocktail experts, and they're so very different.
And they're very different from each other.
very
yes,
different.
totally.
It's fun to have that dichotomy.
One's an entrepreneur and one changes jobs frequently. That's just the way it goes. Jordan Davis will join us in 2 weeks. He is with Heaven's Door, the Bob
that's so
Dylan whiskey. So looking forward to that. I think they've got some new stuff.
When he was on last time, no, it wasn't Jordan. Was it Jordan that was on last time?
He was on with us.
He was
yes.
on with us. Okay,
Yeah.
he gave us those cigar spikes. Mm-hmm. And I took and sharpened one of them, and it's fantastic. Works great as a cigar spike, but the other one I use constantly to purge my lighters. It's a perfect tool.
You know what I use mine for?
What's
Whenever I have a cigar that is a little blocked, I use it to
use it as a
punch
reamer
down through, and create an airway, and it works pretty darn well.
Yeah, those are so good. They're so awesome.
Yeah, very good. So Jordan will be back. And then on the 3rd of March, Sean Anger joins us. Sean was on the program.
That's Fox and Seeger.
Fox and Seeger. Yeah, he was on the program when we did that Martini Challenge, if you remember. So
and he's got a barrel-rested gin.
Yes.
He knew that I liked a barrel-rested gin, so he reached out to me, and I was like, okay, we just got to make that a show.
And then on the 10th of March, Brandon Choate will join us. He's with 5 Points Distilling.
Nice.
So we're looking forward to figuring out what he has to talk about. So great things ahead of us, lots of drinking, lots of smoking, and that's the way, quite frankly, we like it.
Also, couldn't think of it from a couple weeks ago. It's Texas Leaguer. That was the name of the
yes,
baseball
Texas Leaguer.
themed.
Thank you for finally coming
Leaguer.
through. So cheers to Texas Leaguer.
Yes.
Cheers to Brooklyn Brewery. This stout is fantastic.
Agreed.
And really all the beers today were just absolutely over the top.
Yeah,
And
today
this-
was a good show,
this
except for that
whiskey-
first one.
Yeah, well, yeah, that one doesn't count. Although, again, look at this.
It's room
gets-
temperature. I dare you to
It gets
try
more
it.
disgusting as time goes by. You know what?
It looks terrible.
It looks like swill is what it is.
Oh, it smells worse.
All right, thank you.
It's been sitting here just since the beginning of the show, and it smells
Yeah.
like day-old beer.
Oh, well, it probably was day old beer when it went into the can. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of the
Salt's
program.
a lot, everybody.
Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next week. Until then, we raise our glasses to you and say,
Cheers, y'all.
cheers, y'all. Ooh, fun times.
Sometimes